What are nakshatras in Vedic astrology? Nakshatras are the ancient star divisions of the zodiac, deeply rooted in the astronomical sky and essential to Vedic astrology. Unlike the 12 zodiac signs that are solar in nature and seasonal, nakshatras are lunar divisions based on the moon's daily motion and the visible constellations. There are 27 primary nakshatras, each covering 13 degrees and 20 minutes of the 360-degree zodiac, forming the precise framework for lunar-based predictions. From a star perspective, each nakshatra corresponds to one or more fixed stars or visible star clusters. For instance, Rohini is anchored to Aldebaran, the red eye of Taurus, Magha is tied to Regulus, the brightest star in Leo, and Jyeshta links to Antares, the heart of the Scorpion. These are not symbolic associations. They are actual coordinates in the night sky that the ancients observed and codified into astrological meaning. This sky mapping method makes Vedic astrology one of the most astronomically accurate systems in the world. The moon, being the fastest moving planet in Vedic astrology, spends roughly one day in each nakshatra. This movement gives the nakshatras their emotional flavor. Your moon's nakshatra at birth is called your Janma Nakshatra, and it reveals your emotional nature, instincts, mental tendencies, and karmic imprint. This is why the nakshatra is central to dasha calculations, compatibility, and timing life events. What makes nakshatras so powerful is that each one is more than just a set of degrees. They are celestial fields of meaning. Every nakshatra has a ruling deity, a symbolic animal, a planetary ruler, and a specific psychological function or Shakti, power. These sky sectors act as energetic portals or karmic windows through which your destiny unfolds. The stars are not just background, they are active forces. Astronomically, the concept of nakshatras predates the 12-sign solar zodiac. Ancient Vedic seers used star risings and lunar conjunctions with fixed stars to determine sacred timings, agricultural cycles, and ceremonial rituals. This means that nakshatras originally evolved from a stellar calendar system, grounded in nature and sky observation, not just philosophy. Modern astronomy confirms the brilliance of this system. The positions of these star clusters still align with the nakshatra system, as Vedic astrology uses a sidereal, fixed star, zodiac, not a moving tropical one. So while Western astrology may say your moon is in Sagittarius, Vedic astrology might place it in Moola Nakshatra, at the galactic center, a powerful point of transformation and destruction. This connection to real stars means nakshatras help us reclaim the original astrology, where celestial bodies weren't abstract energies, but literal cosmic influences. As you watch the sky and track the moon, you're also tracking your mood, your karma, and your spiritual progress. That's the beauty of nakshatra-based astrology. It's emotional, ancient, predictive, and rooted in starlight. So when you look up at the night sky, remember, those constellations are not just stars. They're the living libraries of your soul's journey, encoded in the nakshatras. While Western astrology is based on the tropical zodiac, which aligns the signs with the seasons, Aries begins at the spring equinox, Vedic astrology uses the sidereal zodiac, which aligns the signs with the actual constellations in the sky. This creates a crucial divergence. Over centuries, due to the precession of the equinoxes, the tropical zodiac has drifted away from the fixed stars. In contrast, nakshatras remain firmly tied to the visible sky, preserving the original astronomical alignment. This means that in Western astrology, the focus is more solar, centered on sun sign traits, seasonal cycles, and psychological archetypes. But in Vedic astrology, nakshatras bring a deeper emotional and karmic precision, especially because they're tied to the moon's motion, which governs the mind, instincts, and subtle body. So while the sun represents identity, the moon reveals how we process life emotionally, and this is where nakshatras offer their richest insights. Another major distinction lies in predictive astrology. Western systems often rely on transits and progressions, but Vedic astrology uses the Vimshottari Dasha system, which is completely based on the nakshatra the moon occupied at birth. This Dasha system divides your life into planetary periods, unfolding like chapters in a karmic storybook. The moon's nakshatra determines not just how you feel, but what type of experiences you'll magnetize in certain phases of life. Moreover, each nakshatra has its own symbolism and mythic context, providing a layer of spiritual narrative absent in Western systems. For example, Ashwini is ruled by the twin horsemen, the Ashwini Kumaras, gods of healing and initiation. Bharani is ruled by Yama, the god of death and dharma. These aren't abstract figures. They represent archetypal energies that shape how you meet life's themes, like leadership, destruction, nurturing, or transcendence. Western astrology might tell you that your moon in Sagittarius makes you adventurous or philosophical, but Vedic astrology will ask, is it in Moola Nakshatra, with roots in destruction and transformation? Or in Purva Ashada, linked to Apa, the water goddess, and the power to purify and uplift? These distinctions go beyond personality. They speak to your soul's evolutionary intention. The nakshatras also add granularity to timing, known as muhurta, electional astrology. In Vedic traditions, no major life event, marriage, childbirth, business launch, is initiated without checking the moon's current nakshatra. This is because each nakshatra has a specific energy. Some are good for beginnings, others for endings, travel, warfare, or healing. Western astrology doesn't traditionally offer this kind of minute-by-minute cosmic mapping. Ultimately, the nakshatra system reflects the Vedic approach to life as a spiritual journey shaped by karma and dharma. It doesn't just tell you who you are, it tells you why you are here, what you're working through, and which divine archetype governs your path. In contrast, Western astrology often centers around psychological integration, whereas Vedic astrology, and nakshatras in particular, focuses on spiritual integration and karmic unfolding. In the modern age, as we seek more personalized, precise, and spiritually resonant tools of self-awareness, nakshatras are being rediscovered by students and seekers across the globe. Their power lies in their ability to blend astronomy, mythology, psychology, and karma, all through the lens of stars that have guided humanity for millennia. Nakshatras are not just tools for prediction. They are living blueprints of human nature, mapping everything from your psychological behavior and personality traits to your physical body type, emotional tendencies, and even the karmic lessons your soul has chosen for this lifetime. Each nakshatra acts like a cosmic fingerprint, offering multi-layered insight that goes far beyond what zodiac signs alone can reveal. At the most personal level, your Janma Nakshatra, the nakshatra where the moon was placed at the time of your birth, reflects your mind's conditioning, your emotional temperament, and your default mode of reacting to life. For example, someone born under Ashlasha may display intense emotional intelligence, secrecy, and coiled inner power, much like its serpent symbolism. On the other hand, someone with the moon in Pushya is naturally nurturing, devotional, and service-oriented, with a grounded and structured emotional core. From a body-based perspective, classical Vedic texts and nakshatra lore also describe physical attributes associated with each star segment. For instance, Bharani natives often have well-developed sensuous bodies, strong appetites, and intense magnetic eyes, reflecting their rulership by Venus and deity Yama, who governs life and death. Rohini natives, ruled by the moon and associated with growth and fertility, are typically attractive, charming, and physically well-proportioned, often drawing admiration effortlessly. But where nakshatras go even deeper is in their connection to the soul's evolutionary journey. Each nakshatra has a built-in Shakti, a unique power or capacity. This Shakti reveals what the soul is here to master or express in this incarnation. For example, Chitra Nakshatra has the Shakti to accumulate merit through righteous action, making its natives driven toward creative excellence and ethical leadership. Moola, ruled by Niriti, the goddess of dissolution, has the power to ruin or break apart, not as a curse, but as a soul-level calling to dismantle illusions and seek root truth. That's why nakshatras are often used in soul path readings, especially through D60, Shastyamsa, or Atmakaraka-based analysis, because they provide the mythic and karmic architecture beneath your physical reality. In fact, the ancient seers saw nakshatras as divine gateways, each one a portal between human life and cosmic intelligence. The deity, symbol, and story attached to a nakshatra are not just cultural myths. They are archetypal energies shaping your fate and free will. Nakshatras also inform our relationships and compatibility, not just through moon sign matching, but through deep energetic resonance. For example, the nakshatra-based Kuta system evaluates factors like mental compatibility Gana, emotional bonding Tara, and longevity of the bond Yoni. These aren't symbolic, they're based on how your emotional rhythms, shaped by your moon's nakshatra, flow with another's. A Chitra native might crave independence and intellectual stimulation, while a Revati person may seek softness and emotional depth. Even your vocation, talents, and ideal environment can be extracted from nakshatra analysis. Someone born under Shatabisha, ruled by Rahu and linked with Varuna, is drawn toward medicine, healing, esoteric sciences, and working in solitary or unconventional environments. In contrast, a Magha native thrives in leadership roles tied to ancestry, legacy, and upholding tradition. These soul paths are not random. They are karmically designed via the nakshatra system. So when we say nakshatras reveal human nature, it's not just a surface-level personality sketch. It's an encoded map of your body, mind, soul, and destiny. It integrates physical form, emotional function, psychological structure, and spiritual blueprint, making it one of the most holistic tools in Vedic astrology. In essence, the nakshatras don't just describe who you are, they remind you of why you are here. The basics of Ashwini Nakshatra. Ashwini Nakshatra is the first among the 27 lunar constellations in Vedic astrology, occupying the span from 0 degree 0 to 13 degree 20 in Aries. It is associated with the stars Beta Arietis, Sheraton, and Gamma Arietis, Mesarthim, which form the head of the ram in the Aries constellation. The symbolism of a horse's head reflects its essential nature: swiftness, vitality, restlessness, and the desire to move forward with instinct, courage, and vigor. Mythological deity. Ashwini is governed by the Ashwini Kumaras, the divine twin sons of the sun god Surya, and the horse-formed Sanjana. Known as the celestial healers in Vedic lore, they were renowned for their miraculous medical interventions and rejuvenating powers. Their mythological presence connects this nakshatra to themes of rescue, regeneration, vitality, and rapid response, reflecting the soul's inherent drive to heal, initiate, and move with divine urgency. As the physicians of the gods, they symbolize youthfulness, new beginnings, and timely action, setting the tone for the entire zodiac. Shakti power. The inherent Shakti of Ashwini Nakshatra is Shidravyapani Shakti, which translates to the power to reach or initiate swiftly. This nakshatra fuels quick decision-making, instinctive action, and the capacity to jumpstart life events or healing processes. Ashwini represents the initial spark in the cosmic cycle, the moment when inertia breaks and motion begins. It governs everything from physical movement and medical intervention to innovative thinking and spiritual awakening. Ruler Ashwini is ruled by Ketu, the headless shadow planet that governs detachment, intuition, past life karma, and mysticism. Ketu's rulership adds a non-material and otherworldly layer to Ashwini's fiery Mars-ruled Aries setting. While the nakshatra initiates quick action and activity in the material world, Ketu introduces a spiritual undertone, making Ashwini natives spiritually inclined healers or warriors who operate on intuition and instinct rather than logic or emotion. Span and star reference. Ashwini Nakshatra spans from 0 to 13-20 in Aries, falling entirely within the constellation of Aries, and marked by two principal stars in sidereal astronomy. Beta Arietis, Sheraton, marks the horn of the ram. Gamma Arietis, marks the ear or head of the ram. These two stars form the celestial gate of the zodiac, aligning Ashwini with impulse, breakthrough energy, and primal life force. Each of the four padas, quarters, of Ashwini spans 3 degree 20 and aligns with specific astronomical markers and inner qualities. Pada-wise angular breakdown and stellar reference. Pada 1, 0 to 320 Aries. Navamsa, Aries. Dispositor, Mars. Star reference, Gamma Arimasartham. Nature, raw energy, physical strength, initiative. Natives are intensely energetic, courageous, competitive, and pioneering. This pada expresses Ashwini's martial and primal charge in its most physical form. Pada 2, 3 degree 20 to 6 degree 40 Aries. Dispositor, Venus. Star reference, Beta Arietis, Sheraton. Nature, sensual, aesthetic, stable. This quarter brings grace and sensuality. Individuals here show artistic leanings, prefer stability, and exhibit healing through touch, beauty, or calm physicality. Pada 3, 6 degrees 40s, 10 degrees Aries. Gemini, Mercury. Star reference, transitional zone between Sheraton and fainter Aries stars. Nature, communicative, curious, intellectual. Natives are fast learners, clever and expressive. Healing and movement here take the form of speech, ideas, and mind-body integration, often linked to teaching or writing. Pada 4, 10 to 13 to 20, Aries. Cancer, Moon, fainter trailing stars of Aries constellation. Nature, emotional, nurturing, intuitive. This is the most emotionally aware part of Ashwini. People here are instinctual caregivers, intuitive healers, and spiritually protective. They balance action with emotional depth and are often drawn toward domestic or intuitive vocations. This star-to-degree mapping places Ashwini at the starting line of the soul's zodiacal journey, where the divine spark enters physical existence through motion, healing, and urgency. Ashwini Nakshatra characteristics. Ashwini natives are quick, dynamic, and action-oriented individuals. Governed by the fiery energy of Aries and the ethereal rulership of Ketu, they are natural initiators, those who prefer to dive into new experiences without hesitation. They thrive on momentum and are rarely content with routine. Their instinctual nature drives them to take bold steps where others pause, making them excellent catalysts in any environment. Whether it's a new project, a new idea, or a new path in life, they are often the first to move, often operating on gut instinct rather than overanalysis. There is a strong undercurrent of youthfulness in their personality, physically and psychologically. This vitality often shows in their energetic gait, animated expressions, and even in the sparkle in their eyes. Particularly in the second and third padas of Ashwini, where Venus and Mercury's Navamsa influence comes into play, they tend to have heightened charm, flirtatious magnetism, and sensual appeal. Their approach to relationships and connections is passionate and enthusiastic, though often lacking in sustained depth unless other chart factors provide grounding. Ashwini natives often face challenges around consistency. Their brilliance lies in starting things, but they may struggle to follow through or complete what they begin. This tendency makes them spontaneous and exciting, but also prone to scattered energy. In relationships, they can be loyal and passionate in the moment, but may grow restless if things become predictable. Their karmic lesson revolves around learning to persevere and stay the course once the initial thrill of beginning fades. One of the most defining traits of Ashwini is their healing instinct. Whether through formal medicine, alternative therapies, physical movement, or spiritual practices, Ashwini-born individuals are drawn to roles where they can restore life, energy, or health. They are the archetypal first responders, emotionally, physically, or even spiritually. Their speed and decisiveness make them well-suited for high-pressure professions like surgery, trauma medicine, emergency services, or crisis management. They are also highly adaptive, able to shift roles, ideas, or strategies on the fly. This flexibility, combined with their keen instincts, makes them incredibly resourceful. Ashwini individuals often have several interests or career paths, especially in younger years, and benefit most from environments that give them freedom to move, create, and pivot. Restrictive or bureaucratic structures tend to frustrate them, unless tempered by Saturnian discipline in other parts of the chart. Ketu's rulership gives these fiery Aries-born individuals a surprising spiritual depth. While they are active and present on the material plane, there is often a hidden sense of detachment, mystery, or otherworldliness to them. They may explore yoga, mysticism, astrology, or even occult sciences not out of rebellion, but from a natural urge to reconnect with something timeless. Ashwini represents the spark of life entering the body, and that divine spark never quite forgets its cosmic origin. Socially, they are independent and not overly concerned with fitting in. They may seem impulsive or unpredictable to more grounded types, but their social strength lies in movement-based charisma. People are drawn to their energy, their passion, and their aura of doing something exciting. However, they do need space to breathe, think, and reset. Deep emotional entanglements may feel suffocating unless there's mutual respect for autonomy and shared growth. On a soul level, Ashwini Nakshatra embodies the moment when inertia turns into action, the cosmic trigger that sets destiny into motion. These individuals are here to embody and express motion, initiation, healing, and life force. Their karmic path urges them to move quickly, but also to cultivate rhythm, commitment, and responsibility along the way. By mastering both the ignition and the journey, Ashwini natives evolve from impulsive pioneers into sacred pathfinders. Planets in Ashwini Nakshatra. When the sun occupies Ashwini Nakshatra, it produces individuals with a strong inner will and a quick start mindset. These people are natural-born leaders, but their leadership is instinctive rather than strategic. They operate best when given independence and often shine in roles where rapid decisions and bold action are needed. Their self-confidence is rooted in action, and they tend to blaze trails rather than follow them. However, they may struggle with authority or rigid systems, especially when those systems inhibit their urge to initiate and move quickly. The moon in Ashwini brings an emotionally agile temperament. These natives are responsive, impulsive, and emotionally tied to the need for movement and change. Their mind is wired for immediate emotional expression, making them instinctual and nurturing in moments of crisis. They tend to form connections rapidly and may appear to move on just as fast, unless deeper emotional grounding exists elsewhere in the chart. Their emotional fulfillment is closely linked to freedom, healing roles, and opportunities to act on gut feeling without restriction. With Mars in Ashwini, we see one of the most potent combinations of drive and firepower. Mars, ruling Aries, feels completely at home in Ashwini and amplifies the nakshatra's natural speed, strength, and assertiveness. These individuals make excellent athletes, emergency responders, entrepreneurs, or soldiers. They act first, think later, and often lead from the front. Their only caution is to avoid burnout, aggression, or reckless behavior. Their path to mastery lies in learning how to pace intensity with long-term goals. Mercury in Ashwini creates quick-witted, sharp-tongued individuals with fast-processing minds. Communication here is rapid, expressive, and direct, sometimes too direct. These natives excel in environments where fast decision-making, innovation, or short-form messaging is key, such as journalism, tech, or public speaking. Their challenge is to slow down enough to refine ideas and avoid jumping to conclusions. Still, their natural intelligence and charm make them engaging communicators and natural troubleshooters. Jupiter in Ashwini offers the potential for spiritual and intellectual pioneers. These individuals often feel drawn to start new belief systems, reform traditional doctrines, or introduce healing philosophies. They have an adventurous moral compass and a desire to expand both their own life and the lives of others through bold teachings. However, they may preach without full preparation or commit to spiritual paths impulsively. With maturity, Jupiter in Ashwini yields mentors, guides, and teachers of dynamic wisdom. Venus in Ashwini brings a passion for pleasure, beauty, and love that moves quickly. These natives are charming and attractive, often pursuing romantic and aesthetic experiences with fervor. Their desires are strong, and they crave novelty in love and art. While they are flirtatious and seductive, they may struggle with emotional depth or long-term commitment unless Venus is well-placed overall. Professionally, they may be drawn to beauty therapy, performing arts, or sensual healing practices. Saturn in Ashwini is a paradoxical placement. It often delays the quick start energy of Ashwini, forcing the native to learn discipline, restraint, and perseverance through hardship. They may experience frustration in the early years of life, feeling blocked or slowed down, but this also builds inner strength. Over time, these individuals become incredibly capable in fields that require structured action, like surgery, engineering, or crisis response. They gain mastery by blending speed with responsibility. With Rahu and Ashwini, we see mavericks, disruptors, and inventors. These people often carry a compulsive need to initiate, explore, or experiment, sometimes to extremes. They are drawn to unconventional healing, cutting-edge technology, or thrill-seeking behaviors. There's a hunger to experience life at maximum speed and a tendency to reinvent themselves frequently. When positively directed, Rahu in Ashwini produces visionaries and reformers. When uncontrolled, it can lead to addiction to speed or recklessness. Ketu, as the natural ruler of Ashwini, is exceptionally powerful here. It brings a subtle, intuitive, and deeply spiritual force to the individual's actions. People with Ketu and Ashwini may seem detached, but are driven by an unseen mission or karmic momentum. They are often natural healers, monks, mystics, or seekers of liberation. They may not understand why they act the way they do, but their actions are often divinely timed and spiritually precise, guided by internal wisdom rather than logic or planning. Basics of Magha Nakshatra. Magha Nakshatra is the 10th lunar mansion in Vedic astrology, spanning from 0° 0 to 13° 20 Leo. The name Magha translates to mighty, magnificent, or royal, and this nakshatra is synonymous with ancestral power, dignity, and traditional legacy. Its primary symbol is a royal throne or palanquin, signifying authority, nobility, lineage, and leadership. Magha is a nakshatra of inheritance, spiritually, genetically, and karmically, carrying forward what has been earned, blessed, or preserved by one's forebears. Mythological deity. The deities associated with Magha are the Pitris, the ancestral spirits who dwell in the Pitriloka, the realm of the forefathers. They represent karmic memory, lineage blessings, and the responsibility to honor family traditions. The Pitris bestow guidance, honor, and protection, but they also carry expectations and karmic obligations. Under their influence, Magha natives are often guardians of legacy, feeling a deep internal pull to uphold family values, protect their roots, or fulfill unspoken ancestral promises. Shakti, power. Magha Shakti is Tyaga Shakti, the power to renounce and take responsibility. While Magha symbolizes royalty, it is not about egoic power. It's about selfless leadership, rightful duty, and moral kingship. This Shakti empowers the native to sacrifice personal comfort to uphold greater responsibilities, whether that be to family, community, culture, or dharma. Magha brings the ability to lead with honor, protect with pride, and detach from unworthiness. Ruler. The planetary ruler of Magha is Ketu, the south node of the moon, symbolizing detachment, past life karma, and ancestral memory. Ketu's influence here gives Magha a non-material, spiritual undertone, despite its association with royal grandeur. It makes Magha natives introspective, philosophically inclined, and aware of the impermanence of worldly status. Their path often involves learning to balance inherited power with humility and spiritual growth, turning outer legacy into inner sovereignty. Span and star reference. Span, 0D 0, 10, 13, 20, Leo. Star Regulus, Alpha Lenus, the heart of the Leo constellation. Regulus is one of the brightest and most honored stars in the night sky, associated with royalty, protection, and prestige. Its position at the celestial heart of the lion reinforces Magha's archetype of regal authority and soul-level nobility. The 4 padas of Magha Nakshatra. Each pada quarter of Magha refines its royal, ancestral, and karmic themes, depending on the Navamsa in which it falls. Pada 1, 0° 3 of Aries. Star reference, early Leo region near Regulus. Nature, bold, assertive, and leadership-driven. This pada gives dynamic charisma, competitive edge, and warrior-like pride. Natives here feel compelled to defend family honor or pursue powerful roles, often with a protective instinct. Pada 2, 3D20. Taurus. Venus star reference, mid-Leo zone. Nature, grounded, luxurious, and tradition-loving. These individuals are practical stewards of legacy, often involved in wealth, estate management, or cultural preservation. They blend sensuality with dignity and find power in stability and refinement. Pada 3, 6 to 40, Tatendri, Leo. Navamsa Gemini, dispositor, Mercury, close to the heart of Regulus. Intellectual, diplomatic, and communicative. This is the orator pada of Magha, producing individuals who command respect through speech, education, or diplomacy. They may serve as advisors, strategists, or communicators of ancient knowledge. Pada 4, Tendri 0, chapter 13 to 20, Leo. Navamsa, dispositor, moon. Star reference, Leo's trailing influence. Nature, emotionally royal, protective, and tradition-bound. This is the most emotionally sensitive and nurturing section of Magha. These natives act like kings with a heart, defending loved ones, preserving emotional legacy, and leading through maternal strength or care. Magha Nakshatra represents the bridge between past and present, lineage and identity, power and purpose. Its natives are here to honor the ancestral flame, to carry tradition with pride, but also to question, evolve, and spiritualize the meaning of legacy. Magha asks the soul to remember who you are, where you come from, and what karmic responsibility you hold, not for personal gain, but to uphold a dharmic lineage with dignity, humility, and detachment. Magha Nakshatra characteristics. Magha natives are dignified, traditional, and karmically rooted individuals, often carrying a deep sense of purpose, legacy, and responsibility. Born under the rule of Ketu and guided by the Pitris, ancestral spirits, they are inherently connected to their lineage, culture, and the idea of rightful leadership. These individuals often walk with an air of authority, whether they hold official power or not, because their inner compass is shaped by a sense of inherited duty and moral pride. Psychologically, Magha-born individuals are identity-conscious, proud, and sensitive to honor and respect. They are highly aware of social structure, status, and reputation, and often feel a subtle pressure to live up to the expectations of their ancestors, family, or cultural norms. They may either fully embrace traditional roles or, if other chart elements indicate, spend their lives wrestling with ancestral karmas that they feel both tied to and burdened by. They thrive when they feel rooted, but may become lost or overcompensating if they are disconnected from their lineage or purpose. In relationships, Magha natives are loyal, protective, and status aware. They seek partners who respect their family values, traditions, and sense of personal pride. While they are devoted to those they love, they may expect reverence or admiration in return, which can create emotional imbalances if not reciprocated. Their challenge is to learn that true power in love comes from humility and emotional presence, not control or social superiority. Creatively and professionally, Magha natives are natural leaders, historians, guardians, and ritualists. They are drawn to roles that involve upholding tradition, managing institutions, curating heritage, or overseeing structured systems. Many are successful in fields related to government, politics, spiritual institutions, education, genealogy, or leadership. They do well in environments that honor hierarchy, respect, and sacred customs, and may find fulfillment in restoring or protecting cultural or familial legacies. Socially, Magha individuals have a commanding presence. Even in quiet settings, others notice their aura of authority or inner nobility. They often carry themselves with grace, formality, and careful etiquette, and are highly conscious of social rituals, generational expectations, and ancestral influence. Others often seek their advice or leadership during times of moral confusion or transition, sensing their connection to time-tested wisdom. Emotionally, Magha natives tend to be controlled, composed, and respectful of boundaries. But they may internalize emotion or resist vulnerability if they feel it threatens their dignity. They often carry ancestral karma, emotional stories, family legacies, or societal roles that they feel compelled to fulfill, even unconsciously. Their growth comes through accepting emotional truth, softening the ego, and allowing their heart to lead as much as their title or mind. Their challenges include pride, resistance to change, and excessive attachment to hierarchy or recognition. If they overly identify with external authority or inherited roles, they may feel hollow or stuck. However, when they integrate spiritual detachment through Ketu's influence with their sense of duty, they become powerful vessels for selfless leadership, moral protection, and ancestral healing. At a soul level, Magha Nakshatra represents the flame of ancestry, the burden and blessing of legacy, and the call to lead with humility. These individuals are here to honor what came before them, to restore nobility to leadership, and to transform pride into purpose. Their karmic path is one of balancing power with devotion, identity with humility, and ultimately serving as guardians of wisdom that transcends time. Planets in Magha Nakshatra. When the sun is in Magha Nakshatra, it shines with ancestral pride, authority, and self-respect. These individuals carry a natural charisma, often feeling destined to lead, protect, or uphold family traditions or social structures. The sun here reinforces a strong ego identity, especially tied to lineage, surname, or cultural role. When balanced, it creates noble, dharmic leaders. When imbalanced, it can manifest as arrogance, entitlement, or overattachment to status. The challenge is to lead with humility and service, not dominance. The moon in Magha brings a deep emotional connection to ancestry, homeland, and family values. These natives often feel emotionally responsible for continuing or preserving family traditions, and their mental peace is linked to being respected or honoring their roots. They are protective, loyal, and sensitive to issues of respect and legacy, but may struggle with emotional detachment if they overly identify with cultural or parental expectations. When mature, they become emotionally regal and nurturing pillars of support. With Mars in Magha, the warrior energy is dignified, driven by honor, protection, and ancestral pride. These individuals take bold action, especially when defending their family, nation, values, or spiritual beliefs. Mars here fights for legacy and lineage, often producing karmic protectors, royal defenders, or those with military and leadership instinct. However, they must be cautious of dominance or aggressive pride, learning to serve from a place of inner strength and righteousness, not ego assertion. Mercury in Magha produces commanding communicators, with a style that blends intellect and tradition. These individuals speak with confidence, structure, and gravity, often gaining respect through their knowledge of rituals, law, history, or culture. Mercury here may also give a sharp wit and political skill. However, if afflicted, it can lead to manipulative speech, excessive formality, or obsession with status symbols. At its best, Mercury in Magha passes down wisdom through oration, storytelling, and lineage-based education. Jupiter in Magha brings a blend of spiritual heritage and moral leadership. These individuals are mentors, gurus, or advisors who often feel it's their responsibility to guide others within a traditional, cultural, or dharmic framework. They are deeply rooted in ritual, law, or scriptural wisdom, and may feel spiritually obligated to carry forward ancestral blessings. Jupiter here can produce high priests, dharmic kings, or cultural reformers. The challenge lies in avoiding dogma and maintaining spiritual humility. Venus in Magha creates individuals who value refined taste, family legacy, and graceful social etiquette. They are often drawn to classical art, traditional fashion, or romantic partners with status and pedigree. Their love style is formal, protective, and deeply respectful of cultural values. They may also possess aesthetic magnetism or artistic gifts passed down from family. However, if unbalanced, Venus here may become elitist, possessive, or overly concerned with appearances over authenticity. Saturn in Magha brings heavy ancestral karma, responsibility, and a lifelong commitment to tradition or structure. These individuals often feel burdened by legacy, hierarchy, or inherited social roles, but they also have the strength to build, preserve, and carry forward sacred institutions. Saturn here creates guardians of tradition, capable of enduring hardship to protect what's sacred. They may mature later in life, but become pillars of community and spiritual elders. The challenge is learning to let go of outdated pride and evolve tradition without rigidity. With Rahu in Magha, the desire for recognition, legacy, and power is amplified. These individuals are often fascinated by status, history, nobility, or spiritual authority. Rahu here can produce charismatic reformers or controversial leaders, especially when they challenge outdated legacies to forge their own. However, they must guard against ego-driven leadership or excessive obsession with public image. When guided by Dharma, Rahu in Magha becomes a force for modernizing tradition while respecting its core wisdom. Ketu in Magha reflects deep ancestral memory, past life connection to royal or priestly roles, and detachment from worldly fame. These individuals may feel disinterested in social recognition despite carrying natural leadership traits. Ketu here grants innate wisdom, humility, and spiritual detachment, often pushing the native toward self-inquiry, monastic life, or hidden service. However, they may struggle with identity confusion or a karmic rejection of family roles. Their sole lesson is to honor legacy while transcending ego. Across all planetary placements, Magha Nakshatra challenges the planet to navigate the karmic weight of lineage, leadership, and legacy. Each planet here must learn to transform ancestral pride into spiritual responsibility, and to lead not with personal ego, but with the silent authority of Dharma and the blessings of the Pitris. Magha reminds us that true nobility lies in remembering our roots while rising beyond them. The basics of Moola Nakshatra. Moola Nakshatra is the 19th lunar mansion in Vedic astrology, spanning from Virgridru to 13 degrees 20 Sagittarius. The word Moola means root, signifying a return to the source, a tearing down to rebuild, and the quest for deeper truth. The symbol of Moola is a tied bunch of roots, indicating its powerful association with uncovering what lies beneath the surface, be it in the psyche, society, or soul. This nakshatra is intense and transformational, concerned not with preserving what is, but with getting to the core truth, even if it means destruction before renewal. The presiding deity of Moola is Niriti, the goddess of dissolution and destruction. While she is often misunderstood or feared, Niriti represents the cosmic force that dissolves illusion, breaks attachments, and clears karmic residues. Her presence gives Moola natives the strength to face uncomfortable truths and the courage to walk alone through the shadows in search of liberation. Niriti doesn't destroy for cruelty, she clears space for higher truth to rise, and Moola natives carry this same power. Moola's Shakti is Barhana Shakti, the power to uproot and destroy. This is not random chaos. It's purposeful removal of what no longer serves. Moola's energy is often associated with deep spiritual breakthroughs, intense life transitions, and karmic endings. Its natives are meant to question, to challenge norms, and to dismantle false identities, both within themselves and in the world around them. This nakshatra is not afraid to go where others won't, to the root cause of pain, the unspoken secrets, the forgotten truths. The planetary ruler of Moola is Ketu, the south node of the moon, which signifies past life karma, detachment, spiritual insight, and transcendence. Ketu's rulership makes Moola profoundly philosophical, mystical, and inherently non-materialistic at its core. Natives often experience life through loss, sudden change, or emotional severance, yet these experiences become the catalysts for their inner awakening and soul evolution. Moola teaches that true freedom lies beyond form, beyond ego, beyond illusion. Located in the first half of Sagittarius, Moola bridges the raw instinct of Scorpio with the inspired quest of Sagittarius. This section of Sagittarius is not yet the philosophical teacher. It is the seeker on a primal path, ripping away illusion in pursuit of the real. Moola represents the first, deepest stirrings of truth consciousness, and its fire is not for show. It is for purification. These individuals crave authenticity, even if it means discomfort or temporary loss. Moola natives are often brave, intense, and emotionally solitary. They are not easily impressed by status or appearance and are drawn to what is hidden, forbidden, or ancient, especially in metaphysics, spirituality, psychology, or the occult. Their life path often includes karmic uprooting, whether of relationships, identities, or careers. But through each loss, they unearth something more eternal, more real. They are natural truth-tellers and disruptors, here to cut through illusion and awaken dormant wisdom. The challenges of Moola include emotional detachment, existential despair, or destructive tendencies, especially if the individual resists the transformative process. But when aligned with higher purpose, Moola becomes one of the most liberated, fearless, and spiritually potent forces in the zodiac. These natives often have the capacity to heal through truth, to lead through honesty, and to inspire through integrity, born of deep personal transformation. At a soul level, Moola Nakshatra represents the sacred fire that burns falsehood to uncover the eternal. These individuals are here to tear down illusions, uproot the past, and return to the divine root of being. Their karmic journey is about learning that true strength comes not from clinging, but from releasing, and that spiritual liberation is found not in avoiding pain, but in walking through it with clarity, courage, and absolute authenticity. Moola Nakshatra characteristics. Moola Nakshatra natives are fierce, truth-seeking, and spiritually intense individuals who are driven by a profound need to dig beneath the surface of life, to understand, to question, and ultimately to liberate. Ruled by Ketu and presided over by Niriti, the goddess of dissolution, these natives are born with an instinctual awareness that nothing lasts forever, and they often live through cycles of destruction and rebirth. They are not afraid of endings. Rather, they intuitively sense that ending is the beginning of deeper truth. Psychologically, Moola individuals are penetrating thinkers, deeply intuitive and emotionally independent, often operating on levels that others find intense or unsettling. They are not content with superficial answers or socially acceptable illusions. They must get to the root of everything, whether that means questioning religion, social systems, personal identity, or the motivations of people around them. This probing nature can lead to incredible insight and transformation, but also to alienation or inner unrest if their energy is not anchored. In relationships, Moola natives can be intensely loyal but non-attached, offering deep devotion but often needing emotional space and philosophical freedom. They are attracted to soul-level connections, not transactional partnerships, and often find themselves in karmic entanglements that burn away old patterns. Their love language may be radical honesty or silent understanding. However, they must learn to balance truth with tenderness, as their directness can sometimes feel cutting to more sensitive partners. Creatively, Moola natives are drawn to investigation, metaphysics, transformation, and anything that involves breaking down to rebuild. They may excel in psychology, surgery, occult sciences, mysticism, journalism, or philosophical writing, where their ability to probe, expose, and transmute is put to constructive use. Their creations often carry a raw primal intensity, sometimes unsettling but always authentic. They are the artists and thinkers who dare to say what others won't, pushing collective consciousness into new terrain. Socially, they are often private, enigmatic, and minimalistic, preferring a few real connections to many shallow ones. Others may feel both in awe and unsure around Moola natives, sensing their inner fire and depth. They may not be openly sociable, but when they do speak, their words cut through confusion and awaken something deeper. Their presence is often transformative, and they leave lasting impressions, even in brief interactions. Emotionally, Moola natives are tough, yet deeply feeling. They often process grief, loss, and separation earlier in life, which creates a spiritual toughness and emotional wisdom that many never reach. They may struggle with existential anxiety, emotional detachment, or nihilism, especially when they feel disconnected from spiritual purpose. Yet when aligned, they become pillars of inner stillness, teaching others that peace is found not in permanence, but in surrender to truth. Their challenges include isolation, intensity, and the temptation to destroy without rebuilding. In their youth or shadow phases, they may rebel just to rebel, or burn bridges before fully understanding their value. But as they mature, they learn that true transformation doesn't require recklessness. It requires sacred courage, patience, and inner alignment. When balanced, they become powerful agents of karma clearing and evolutionary leadership. At a soul level, Moola Nakshatra represents the liberation path through truth, loss, and deep spiritual inquiry. These individuals are not here to decorate the world. They are here to strip it back to what's real, to challenge false foundations, and to plant the seeds of timeless wisdom. Their karmic path is one of release, return, and radical authenticity, for they know that before you can rise, you must first go to the root. Planets in Moola Nakshatra. When the sun is in Moola, it creates individuals with a deep-rooted drive to uncover truth, authenticity, and spiritual purpose. Their sense of identity is tied to removing falsehood, both within themselves and in the world around them. These individuals often have karmic roles as reformers, spiritual seekers, or destroyers of illusion. The sun here may bring powerful ego tests early in life, where destruction of status or identity becomes the seed for inner awakening. When balanced, this placement gives rise to fearless leaders who stand in their truth no matter the cost. With the moon in Moola, the emotional nature is profound, self-contained, and spiritually detached. These individuals are born with an instinct to emotionally uproot what no longer serves, which can make their early emotional experiences intense or isolating. They tend to seek emotional truth over comfort, and while they can be nurturing, they are also difficult to emotionally pin down. If unbalanced, this placement can create emotional aloofness or a tendency to detach abruptly. In its mature expression, the moon in Moola gives rise to spiritually wise, deeply intuitive healers who embody stillness amidst chaos. Mars in Moola is a powerful, intense placement. These individuals are fierce in battle, direct in speech, and uncompromising in pursuit of their ideals. Mars here brings raw courage and a warrior-like instinct to challenge oppression, falsehood, or weakness, both in others and within. They may be drawn to surgical professions, martial disciplines, or investigative roles where they can wield their precision and force. If afflicted, this placement can lead to recklessness or destructive impulsiveness. When harnessed well, Mars in Moola produces spiritual warriors and fearless agents of reform. Mercury in Moola brings a sharp, probing intellect and an interest in uncovering hidden truths. These individuals may be drawn to occult studies, philosophical writing, psychological analysis, or investigative journalism. They are often skeptical of surface-level explanations and require deep understanding before forming opinions. Their speech can be cutting, blunt, or unsettling, especially if they're in a shadow phase. If evolved, Mercury in Moola expresses as a spiritual communicator or truth-based educator who speaks with radical clarity. With Jupiter in Moola, spiritual growth comes through destruction of belief systems, loss of external support, and philosophical crisis. These individuals are called to dismantle inherited ideologies and rebuild a faith that is truly their own. Jupiter here seeks liberation through wisdom, often attracting mentors, teachings, or life experiences that break down the ego to reveal spiritual knowledge. If unevolved, this placement can lead to spiritual arrogance or extremist tendencies. But in higher expression, it produces wise reformers and fearless spiritual guides. Venus in Moola brings a powerful urge to purify love, relationships, and sensuality from ego and illusion. These individuals often experience intense romantic transformations, relationships that begin with passion and end in karmic release. They are not content with superficial love. They seek soulful, raw, and transformative unions. Venus here may struggle with loss in love, fear of attachment, or detachment from pleasure, especially early in life. When evolved, it creates spiritually devoted partners, tantric practitioners, and those who love with sacred truthfulness. Saturn in Moola brings a life path filled with serious karmic lessons, detachment, and spiritual austerity. These individuals are often tested through loss, isolation, or hardship, learning resilience through surrender. Early life may feel burdensome, but over time, Saturn here produces deep strength, wisdom, and responsibility toward truth. These natives often walk solitary or renunciate paths or serve as karmic guides and truth protectors. The challenge lies in avoiding bitterness or fear of change. The gift is unshakable spiritual maturity. With Rahu in Moola, the native craves power through knowledge, liberation, or taboo-breaking pursuits. Rahu here seeks transformation, but often through shocking or radical methods, especially in youth. These individuals may be drawn to esoteric sciences, mysticism, shamanism, or societal rebellion. This placement can lead to intense karmic upheaval or spiritual awakening, depending on the soul's maturity. When unrefined, Rahu in Moola may become destructive, rebellious, or obsessed with control. When matured, it produces spiritual revolutionaries and fearless truth-bearers. Ketu in Moola is an extremely powerful placement, as Ketu is the Nakshatra's ruler. This gives the individual innate spiritual depth, detachment, and karmic wisdom, often beyond their years. These natives may be drawn to solitude, spiritual renunciation, and metaphysical inquiry early in life. They instinctively know that nothing material lasts, and thus often seek freedom through inward turning and self-realization. If afflicted, this placement can create isolation, nihilism, or emotional withdrawal. When awakened, Ketu in Moola produces mystics, seers, and karmic dissolvers who burn through illusion to reach truth. Planets in Moola Nakshatra are each challenged to uproot false identities, destroy limiting attachments, and reconnect to divine truth. Whether expressed through action, emotion, thought, or desire, each Gra in Moola is a soul force called to liberate rather than accumulate, to cut through illusion, and to bring purity, power, and purpose back to the root of all things. Moola doesn't build until it has cleared the ground, and what it builds is sacred, eternal, and forged in truth.